Alrighty. Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's having a swell day. And I am here proudly with DylanJayFox for his run of Spyro 2, Ripto's Rage. Would you like to introduce yourself?
What's up, FTLG? My name is DylanJayFox. Today, I'm going to bring you the absolute best 14 Talisman run I possibly can with the amazing host of Soaring Sloth by my side. Can't talk. There's a lot of S's there. And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, whenever you're good to go. I can start the timer.
Alright, just wanted to tweet it out the way anybody who's following me wants to pop in. So, I am good to go whenever you are, man.
Alright. Count on 3. Alright, 3, 2, 1, go!
Alright, so for those of you who don't know, Spyro the Dragon is a classic late 90s platformer, developed and published by Insomniac, published by... What's the publisher? Oh no, I'm blanking.
Oh no.
Universal, that's the one. I could like see the logo in my head. And this game is all about this purple dragon, right? He wants to run around, collect gems, beat up the bad guys, that whole like 9 yards. It's a classic platformer from the 90s era of gaming. It's really sick. Spyro 2, of course, is the second installation in the series, following the lead of Spyro 1, which was a pretty big success, especially in North America. Spyro 2 being, you know, regarded by many as maybe the best in the series. If you ask me personally, I would probably say that's how it goes to Spyro 3, but that's because I'm very biased towards that game, as it was probably the first video game I played as a kid. I didn't really talk a lot about that whole level. I'm more or less just going to talk in broad strokes about the game over the course of this, try to give you guys something of a unique experience to just kind of explaining tricks, because frankly, my run isn't very trick heavy. It's just very movement intensive, comparatively to what you could see on the leaderboards if you were to watch other 14 Talisman runs. Most notably, you're seeing I'm collecting quite a few gems, right? If you look at like top level runs of this category, or you know, categories that are level, higher level runs just in general. Sorry, it's late at night. I'm a little bit on the sleepy side, so my words are just fumbling all over the place.
Words are hard.
They're really hard. They don't get talked about enough. You're noticing I'm collecting quite a few gems here. That's because I want to hit the total of 500 at minimum before we get out of Colossus, which is going to be the 3rd level that we go to. So in the meantime, I'm just trying to scoop up as many gems as I can while I'm going through these first couple levels. And as I go through the levels, as I reach the end of each of them, I'm collecting something. And if you notice, it's called the Talisman, which works in line with the title of the category 14 Talisman. Meaning that, of course, we are looking to collect 14 of these guys, which allow us to get into the Winter Tundra homeworld, which will be towards the end of the run. This is our second Talisman here from Foreman Bob, I think his name was, or Foreman something. There's a Foreman Bob somewhere in this level. I don't know if that's Foreman Bob or not, but the NPC's names in this game they just fly by me. I don't know what they are half the time. Here you're going to see me utilize a couple of techniques in movement called flame charging. I'm hopefully get this double basket. Alright, nice. That was actually a pretty clean idol. And throughout the level and throughout the first level, you saw me kind of just double jumping all over the place and utilizing the kind of core of what Spyro 2's movement offers, which is just kind of like that cool like little he jumps up a little higher than usual. Whereas if you were to watch like Spyro 1 or Spyro 2 or Spyro 3, he can't actually utilize that mechanic, partly because Spyro 1's a different movement engine, and because in Spyro 3 they just change it so his physics don't allow it for some reason. Speedruns are hard, words during. I agree, Happy Camper. I fully agree. I tend to just, when I'm like running and I'm like grinding a category, I just go silent. And you see me just deadpan at the camera. I'm just there playing the game. There's nothing else. Just head empty, no thoughts. Just square button.
It'd be like that.
So here at the beginning of this level, there is like an elected route change that I do. Where I go and get those extra 7 gems on the side. Whereas there is like a clip you can do out of bounds to kind of skip that section. But it's not quite as advantageous to go for. if you do it in a manner where you're trying to kind of overgem a bit, which I like to overgem in my route. Realistically, I need 500 before at the end of classes. I usually get around like 515, just to be on the safe side, and then I have extra gems for the couple other purchases we need to make later, which come in the form of a couple of levels, which I'll talk about more as we get to them. A lot of what this category reminds me of is actually the last run I did at FTLG, which of course I had my boy Sloth with me. It's called, that category was called Vortex. It's actually very similar in the sense of the goal in this category, as with Vortex, is just kind of to get to the end of the level. Of course, in this game there are no vortexes, so you're not truly entering or exiting in quite the same way. Ooh, I went to the sound. But it does allow you to kind of find innovative and cool ways to get to the end of levels in most of the levels in this game, with the exception of the Winter Tundra levels, which you don't really see in this run, unfortunately. Or fortunately, depending on how you feel about them. So here, as you saw, I made it to 517 gems, meaning I have plenty over the gem count needed to unlock the swim power-up, which allows us to go on to the second area. There are many different ways to actually bypass buying swim in this game, but I elect to buy it because I feel like it's just it's a more user-friendly route. If you don't buy it, you have to do several different proxies that lend themselves to being kind of run killers, and especially in like a marathon type setting, right? If you have like several tricks that like you can get stuck on and you just can't progress for like minutes at a time, that's usually not epic. I'm really happy I just got that Hurricanes clip. I know I was talking about something completely different, but I've had such anxiety about that clip lately because I've just been missing it for no reason. As you can see, another little useful bit of manipulating the level and kind of getting out of bounds with it, just so we can get to the Talisman as fast as we possibly can. I'm kind of getting lost in this because everything that happens in this category just happens so fast it's hard to talk about in a quick setting. Alright. Thanks for the luck, Cat. I feel like I'm talking to my Twitch chat whenever I look over every so often. So, usually Sunny Beach is one of those such levels as a run killer in this category if you are using the proxy route and or the swimless route, they like to call it. But for me, it just ends up being a level I just kind of run through as fast as I possibly can, claim some enemies, collect some gems. There are a lot of really good gems to pick up that you've already seen me collect in this level. And realistically, if you're doing this version of the route, you just want to avoid even trying to do Turtle Proxy because of how good the gems are in this level. To me, it negates the goodness of doing Turtle Proxy in the sense of how many gems it gets you per minute, how many gems it gets you in general towards those goals that we're going to be looking at later to buy those portals. So, I also elected to not do a strat with the button at the end of the level. There's a little strat where if you walk off the button and then hold sprint, or hold charge, I guess, as you kind of walk off of it, you can actually get through that door kind of in like a cool like little squeeze way. But I have just been failing it all night long, so yet again, I'm electing to kind of omit a strat in favor of just kind of show you, in favor of trying to show you the limits of what Spyro 2 movement can kind of do. I may not be the best person to showcase it, as I'm not the best Spyro 2 player, but I really like the challenge in just utilizing a game's movement and not a whole lot else to your advantage in a speedrun. I think that presents itself as something very unique to what I'm used to doing, instead of doing just a number of crazy, insane tricks, which I've done a couple of cool, like, little ones here and there, like the Hurricanes clip we saw. But there isn't nearly as many, like, bells and whistles in this version of the route as there are in... Okay, it didn't let me just double jump out, but... comparatively to, like, the proxy version, where you are just constantly, like, jumping to like the end of the level with like sheep and stuff like that, or jumping over and out of like the beginning of Sunny Beach, or X or Y or Z, or doing Frog Proxy, or doing Balloon Proxy. This route just lends itself to just being purely movement, and that's, to me, really, really cool compared to having to worry about all of the extra bells and whistles that you can miss, possibly. So, just like that, we're at the end of Aquaria Towers. As you saw, it's just kind of a run-through-the-level type vibe. Really chill level, all in all. It's the only level in Spyro 2 where you start and are basically fully underwater for the level, or you can be fully underwater for the level. And like that, we're basically at a Hub 1. Now we move on to the first boss of the game, which is Crush.
Well done.
He is crushing, to say the least. He's just big and blue, and he has a club. He's one of the easier bosses in the whole series, I would say. Especially compared to like Spyro 3 bosses. Because all he really does is he has like 2 different forms of attacks, where he'll either stand on one of these blue platforms or a red platform. He has different attacks that you can avoid for each. And then he swings that club at you if he gets angry. And he usually only gets angry when you hit him, so. Alright. So, now he's moving on to like the second phase of attacks. I'm going to try to jump over the attacks as much as I can. Not bad. So as you can see, if we jump over and we hit him with a flame, it makes that nice and quick and easy. That little barrier that surrounds him, if I get too close, you just saw it right there, it kind of like recoils me back. So I don't really want to run to a situation where he's going to be hitting me with that. I want to just kind of not do that if I can help it. Alright. So I took an extra damage there. That guarantees us to stay on this blue platform, which is the most optimal one for him to be on. And just like that, Crush is done. And, yeah, we get to move on to the second homeworld, Autumn Plains.
Hoorah.
Yeah. Like I said, the biggest problem with, like, talking about this category is just, like, things happen so fast, it's kind of hard to explain. So, one thing I can kind of briefly explain, because you're going to see me utilize this mechanic throughout this level here, is the double jump, right? So, you can utilize this mechanic, if you have your own copy of Spyro 2, by pressing X in square, in kind of a rhythmic pattern, where it lets you... It basically tricks the game into thinking Spyro didn't jump as you press the jump button, and when you charge, it gives you an extra jump for some reason. And right there I utilize what's called a small Sproder. It's basically the same input pattern. And it's called a Sproder because Spyro and Spider-Man, it was discovered by, I think, somebody named Spora, I want to say. I forget exactly who discovered it, but that's kind of the origins of the name. But it utilizes the same movement tech that a double jump would, just in a slightly different way, where you get to use it off of a wall. That sucks. I was getting a little bit too greedy there with like how I was trying to like do that quickly, and I just kind of flopped off. Alright. Oh, not a bad level though, with the exception of that fall off. And just like that, we hop right into Chief Shaman Tuck. Usually what you have to do is you have to free all of those ice boys, which, as you saw throughout the entire level, we did not save a single one of them. But because we were able to get up on top of that scenery outside the level, we just get to hop right in and meet him and be like, hey, we saved you, even though he's still trapped in his cage. But, you know, he's doing just fine. He's having a good time. He gives us a talisman and we get to leave. That's really all I care about. And then we move on to Skilos Badlands. It's really just like a quick succession of just going through levels and levels and levels. Skelos in particular is one of those levels in a game where they put the end kind of right next to where you begin. So you're going to see me, I'm just going to hop over here on top of this bone, gonna turn around, gonna do a little double jump, hover, then hop right over here to the end of the level. One cool thing to note about Spyro 2 in particular is a lot of the levels have kind of like sister levels, if that makes sense. So as you kind of can see by the character models, right? These guys look a lot like the guys from that last level we were just in Crystal Glacier. This is something that kind of reigns true throughout the games, or throughout this game in particular, where two levels kind of coincide with each other. It happens with those two levels, and it also happens with this level here, and the last level we'll do in the hub. So Breeze Harbor and Zephyr are basically at war with each other. It's kind of weird, because you sort of fight for both sides of the war, because you fight enemies from both sides. Which kind of makes Spyro a war criminal when you think about it, but hey ho, we move. As you can see, the end of the level is right next to where we begin once again, and we just kind of get to hop up, do a bunch of double jumps. You know, really exercise what the movement of this game allows you to do, and just continually just make our way to the end of the levels without, like, really any issue. We don't even fight enemies, we don't even flame anybody, basically, for the majority of these levels. However, the next trick coming up is arguably one of the most infamous pieces of Spyro 2 in general. It's called Climbeless. So, obviously, we're in the gem conservation business, because getting gems, you know, it takes up time. We don't want to take up time. We just want to play the game. We want to be done. Ooh, I missed. Okay. So, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to bypass buy and climb, right? It makes sense. You want to save gems, like I just said before. To do that, we need to get up here and then continue our ascent up in kind of a path similar to what I'm doing right now. And it just allows us to get up here to Scorch without having to pay money bags, which you would usually have to spend 500 gems on. As you can see, I'm not even close to that right now. Spyro is the most beloved war criminal of all time that I know of. You can fact check me if you'd like to, but make sure that you let me know in a donation message by donating to the cause Games for Love. Which, if you want to take a brief moment and talk about it a little bit, Sloth, I'd be completely open and happy to hear it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Games for Love is a gaming charity dedicated to easy suffering, saving lives, and creating sustainable futures for children. Games for Love began with the dream to benefit sick kids and allow everyday heroes in #gaming and #tech to help children through their gifts and talents. Started in 2018, the impact began quickly with the goal to help millions of children around the world.
It's a good cause. You know,
it's a great cause.
It's like, what would the world be like? What would your world in particular be like without gaming, Sloth? Like, what would you do?
Like, I'm gonna be completely frank. I cannot play sports, so I think I'd be pretty unhappy.
That's very fair. But wouldn't you consider sports a game, sort of?
I mean, yes.
Thank you.
You know, yeah.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Don't mind me.
You are. I mean, yeah. They are a game I'm not good at. That's the difference. That's the key difference. Games with controllers, I can be a lot better at.
That's very fair. I tend to lend myself more to the creative things over gaming in terms of things I'd like to say I'm skilled at, but
that's also fair.
I definitely think without gaming and having like the leisure of you know, being able to like chill and play. Because as I've mentioned, like, this is probably the most chill route you can take with this game and with this category in particular. I really just treasure that in speedrunning, because I know it's like a competition to a lot of people. I know a lot of people want to, you know, compete and put together like huge times. Like, I have goals, don't get me wrong, like my goal in this category is a sub 30, right? But like, to me, that casual nature, that kind of chill, just low-key vibes, just by playing the game, is really what I enjoy. And I think that that's a big hallmark of what makes Gaming for Love such a good cause.
Oh, 100%, man.
Because it's all about loving gaming. It's all about having fun.
No, yeah.
Also, I didn't really talk a whole lot about that level, strictly under the premise of, you saw what I did. I'm just going around, freeing a couple of satyrs. They're playing some stuff on their bagpipes. You can like their tunes, you can dislike their tunes, whatever you feel like. But you free them, it opens up that middle section where we can get the talisman. There is actually a way to get inside of there. I'm just very, very inexperienced at getting in there. And it is incredibly punishing to miss. So I'm just avoiding it in the interest of meeting Esteban, also in the interest of just chilling out and having a good time here with my boy Sloth. And with all of you gamers here in the FTLG gamer community. I don't know what to call people. I don't know why I just called them a gamer community. Sloth, help me. I'm being awkward.
I mean, hey, I'm being awkward with you too. You know what? You know, I'm gonna completely butcher it, but you know what? Everybody in this chat right now is a cool lad. And I am thankful that there are so many people here right now.
Thanks for the
I agree. I'm really thankful. Just, I know the run isn't over yet, so I shouldn't be saying my thanks yet or anything. But I do want to say a massive thank you to FTLG for allowing not only myself, but Derek Lander and also Jeremy Thompson to showcase the Spyro series. And kind of show off these games a bit. Because I know I would say that they're among the more popular platformers in general, maybe nowadays, for speedrunning. But Spyro lately, I feel like a lot of the games that we've showcased haven't really gotten enough love, you know? Spyro 2 in particular, Spyro 3 in particular. A lot of the light's always been on Spyro 1, and it's just been really cool to be able to see so many people able to showcase the different games in the series, just through this event. It's given a lot of people an avenue to really enjoy themselves. Not to out him, but Derek actually DM'd me shortly after he finished up his runs and was like, bro, thank you so much for, you know, telling me to submit and stuff, because he had a really good time, because you guys are genuinely really good people. You put together great events, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys do in the future. Just in general, I think you guys are smashing it. Just to shout out the organizers and everything. And the
They're
hosts.
killing it.
Alright, so here, it's kind of an escort mission, right? We have this character, Shorty. She's kind of just vibing. Also, fun fact, Shorty is a she. If you look in the official Spyro handbook, or in the, you know, game manual, it actually notes that Shorty is a she. So, fun fact, a lot of people didn't know that, myself included, until I read it. So our goal is to escort Shorty all the way to the end of the level, where she will bust down this last door for us, and then she will give us the talisman. She doesn't give us to the beginning because, you know, she wants us to help her get through the level, I guess. Tell you the truth, I actually don't know why she doesn't just give it to us at the beginning. But I presume there's a reason. There's gotta be a reason, right?
There has to be.
There's gotta be one, right? And just like that, we're out of here. Now, we have one thing, or one talisman left to acquire. That was actually our 13th. I know this run is just blazing by. But to get our 14th, we actually have to go back to near where we were at the beginning. And you might be thinking to yourself, or you might be thinking, Dylan, why is the route this way? Well, that's strictly down to the fact that we're going to run over here to Alora, and she's going to give us a free teleport if we talk to her a second time. I tried to skip her text box, it's a little early. And she teleports us right to Moneybags, where we get to pay the 400, and then we get to get into Zephyr, which, as I mentioned earlier, is the sister level to Breeze Harbor, where we would typically fight some birds and stuff like that. But realistically here, I don't think that's happening. I think we're going to do a funny little clip out of bounds, which you're going to see here in a moment, and get a little walk-in double jump, and just head right over here to the second half of the level. Skip the entire first part where usually you would have to blow down a door with a cannon. It's very slow, it's not very fast. And here I'm going to go for something for the fans. I'm going to go for a little balloon proxy. I don't usually do the proxies in my personal route. Oh, I messed it up. So there, if you were to press the jump button at roughly the same frame that you would break it, what that would do is it would launch you very high in the air. But because I kind of missed the cue on it, I just didn't get any height and I fell immediately. So we're gonna have to break down this door to Corporal Glug, blow him up with some TNT, and get him out of there and get our talisman from him another way, aka the intended way. Alright. Talk to the boy. And he hands us the Zephyr Talisman. And just like that, that's all 14 talismans. The category's done. I'm kidding, of course, because now we get to fight probably the most infamous boss in all of Spyro. That being Gulp. If you haven't heard of Gulp, good, keep it that way. Actually turn off the stream for a couple of minutes. Go to the donation tab, make sure to donate to the charity Games for Love instead of watching the Gulp fight, because I promise you it is going to be horrific.
Oh boy.
Gulp is commonly referred to as the worst or the most difficult boss in Spyro. Whether we're talking about the reignited version of this game or we're talking about the original. Both versions of this fight are absolutely daunting. I didn't get the double barrel. A lot of what this run, or what this fight in particular depends on, is your ability to get doubles. So you can get a double with just about a combination of anything out of the 3 types of weapons that the birds will drop for you, the pterodactyls will drop for you. You can get a bomb, you can get a barrel, and you can get a rocket. The only combination you can't at least get a double off of, unfortunately, is the double bomb, which in all of my recent runs, I have had triple bombs and double bombs and nothing but bombs. The first couple phases are kind of set in stone, where they give you a barrel. They give you 2 barrels, they give you 2 bombs, and then 2 rockets, as you just saw. But then everything from here on is random. So you need to kind of hope with all you have that you don't just get triple bombs. Okay, this is not bad. I can work with this. Here we're going to lure him into us a bit. I definitely charged that barrel, but the game just told me no, that's fine. So obviously the most optimal way is to at least get 3 doubles. If you can even... That's bad. Okay, okay, this Gulp is already falling apart. So here I'm caught in a bit of an interesting predicament where I need to try to figure out how to navigate this Gulp. By walking around him like this, you kind of can... Hold on. Sorry, I just wanted to focus on getting that double.
No worries.
You can manipulate his pathing, that way he's always trying to turn towards you so he doesn't charge you, he doesn't use his other attack. This is the only way to really kind of rein him in for a second. Okay, I can maybe work with this too. No, I was way too far away. Okay. As you can see, I am getting insane amounts of bombs versus barrels or rockets. I don't think I've seen a rocket outside of the rocket phase where you're guaranteed them. I say that and then I get a rocket. Let's go. Alright, that's a barrel. Alright, have him charge me. That was completely my fault. That's insane. So here I'm faced with a choice. I can let these birds drop another egg and try to get a barrel or another rocket off of it, because I can't flame the barrel or flame a bomb into him while I have a rocket in my mouth. Otherwise I just shoot the rocket, right? So that was Gulp, and as you saw, it didn't really go very well. Tell you the truth, I'm happy I didn't die. That was my #1 fear with Gulp, because I have had that happen in the last 2 weeks where I've died once on Gulp. So me not dying is honestly enough for me at this point. Moving swiftly on, we are now in Winter Tundra, which is the last homeworld, where really all we have to do is get into Ripto, right? But before we get into Ripto, we do something that actually optimizes our boss fight a bit more, which is, to me, really unique, because I don't see it a lot in games where you go and get a kind of a power-up before you fight the final boss, in the final boss's area, when you're right there. That's basically what we do. So utilizing the double jump, we can kind of get into this main area. Usually you would have to buy a head bash, but because we obviously don't want to spend 8,000 gems or save up 1,000 gems, we're not going to be doing that. We make it to this out of bounds area. We hop onto this waterfall. You can do this a myriad of different ways, but it's just how I like to do it. We're going to cut down here, get just below the ground, turn right, turn to that portal area. I missed it. Okay. What I was meant to do is whenever a portal is not loaded in Spyro, this is true across the entire original series, they actually do have the asset loaded. It's loaded directly under where the portal is, so all you have to do usually is aim towards it while you're out of bounds underneath it, and it'll take you right into the level that you're looking to go to. In this case, we're looking to go to Dragon Shores, which I hope I can get into on this next attempt, because it is quite a bit of time lost to just kind of have to run back to the same place and do all the steps that you just saw me do.
I believe in you.
I believe in me too, Sloth. Alright, we're in. Cool. So here, we're looking to get the Fireball power-up. Basically, it just makes this boss fight coming up just so much easier than having to wait on orbs. And it makes it faster, too, because honestly, waiting on orbs in that boss fight just takes forever. And unless you get, the task level RNG, which there is a task for this game. It's actually really cool, the 14 Talisman task in particular. We're gonna fly out of bounds. I didn't even talk about the level. I'm so, like I said, it's just things are so fast and I get lost talking about one thing. But getting Fireball is just faster. Pretty much we had to jump over that wall, which is a lot more difficult than it looks. The first 14 Talisman run I ever did was 2.5 hours, to give you some aspect of context. And that wall in particular was an hour of that. So if that gives you any insight as to how hard it is to get over that wall when you're first playing this game, that is what it is. So here we're going to be we're going to be attempting to do a very famed trick in the Spyro series known as a swim in air. To do this, we want to charge into the water on that little stream that you just saw me go towards before. That's sad. And by charging into it, it can manipulate Spyro when he's kind of already out of bounds, not actually in water, into believing he's in the state of, being in water. So, we're going to go for this again. Sink lower. Alright, we got it. Cool. And using this power-up, we are going to swim over here behind the door where Laura is, and straight into the Ripto boss fight trigger. And, just so you know, it's going to be coming up on time in probably about a minute, Sloth, just a heads up. Also,
Gotcha.
Stepkey Hammer and Grapevine, what's up, gamers? Those are 3 of the awesome Spyro community members. If you are in any way interested in running Spyro, or even just interested in speedruns by people that are doing it currently, I do highly encourage joining the Spyro Speedrunning Discord. Not to plug it too much, but there are plenty of people who are insightful that are willing to teach you and help you and tell you anything you really want to know about these games that they're able to tell you. Alright, so there we got an early hit on Ripto. Time is going to be coming up on the end of this fight here, on this phase.
Gotcha.
I will let you know roughly when we're about there. Did he just not go? Okay. Alright, so get ready. And time. And we even got the skill point. We didn't even get damage on Ripto. What a sick fight. So,
Wow.
That was 14 Talisman. I'm sorry I didn't talk about the run basically at all. I just kind of got caught up talking and then talking and talking and talking and talking. But, yeah, thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah, you were great. It was a pleasure having you.
It was a pleasure having you. How about that? How do you like that?
Thank you. Hey, thank you. I did not expect that.
Ever thank you enough, Spyro.
And I believe with that, up
I
next,
suppose you have to go now?
we have Mega Man Battle Network 6, ran by Phantom 5800.
Before you go, I think the
It will
money
sure
bags
be
are
a run
something
to see. I can't word too.
Yeah, it's harder, bro. They just get worse by the moment, you know.
Spyro,
Yeah.
Thank you for the GGs, by the way, chat. I appreciate it. And make sure you check out the cause. Make sure you check out the charity. Type in ! donate in the chat below if you want to support the charity. It'd be huge.
Let me just type in the new coordinates and there. Spyro, you can now
With that, I
go
guess
to
we'll
Dragon
just
Shores.
Get right
Hey, why
over
don't you guys
to
come with me?
transitioning to
I
the
bet
next
you
run.
could use a
So,
holiday.
I'm afraid we can't, Spyro.
see you guys on the flip
Ripto
side.
will be gone, but
See
he
you
caused
later.
A lot of damage during his short stay. We'll be cleaning up for weeks. Just remember though.
Lately